What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
The 5th annual Pinehurst Barbecue Festival is right around the corner this Labor Day weekend. The 3-day event in late August features 5 signature events, concluding with the Christopher Prado Pitmaster Invitational on Sunday, August 31st in the iconic village of Pinehurst. 7 of the state's top pitmasters will be on hand for patrons to sample 7 different meats and 7 different southern sides, including brisket, ribs, pork barbecue, smoked crab, and much more. Tickets to all of the events are on sale now at PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com. And remember, to help celebrate the festival's 5th anniversary, purchase a ticket to be entered into a drawing for Tickets for Life. That's right, Tickets for Life. Don't miss one of the top food festivals of the year in North Carolina. Log on to PinehurstBarbecueFestival.com and secure your tickets now. And one of the pitmasters participating in this year's Christopher Prieto Pitmaster Invitational is the one and only Mr. 365 All Gas No Brakes, Ronald Simmons, the pitmaster and president of Master Blend Family Farms. Ron, welcome back to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Yo, thank you so much, Big Chigga, man. How you been, baby?
Oh, man, great. Just rocking and rolling. But I want to know how you been. And from the top here, I want to talk about the biggest new thing in Master Blend Family Farms in your arsenal, the Food Truck Fridays on the Court Square in Kenansville. Tell us what that's all about.
Yo, that's a little bit of magic, giving some love back to the community of Kenansville, man. So over the years, we've been traveling to different cities and causing like total awesome outcomes. And so we wanted to give a little bit back to Duplin County just to let them know, that we still appreciate our roots, where we've come from, and thank them so much for their support and supporting the movement.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've seen it on Fridays. Is this an every Friday thing or what?
So far, it's been every Friday, man. The support has been unreal. We've been selling out of the ribs. Aunt Shirley's ribs have been like crazy. And then the brisket has been doing amazing. Easy to sell that stuff out. The chicken's been crazy. What we're learning is that as we stay creative on each entree, that everybody is like, oh, that's something different, or oh, that's something new. And the flavor profile is good on the palate. So far, so good. We're going to keep it rocking as long as they want us there, Now,
is this a lunchtime only performance?
So far, I've been running it just from 11 to 2. And look, and if we add more, so we've been brainstorming about doing like a back to school fest for the kids in the community. And with that, we would actually do an evening thing so they would be able to drive in, watch movies, enjoy, and then possibly receive like book bags, right? So looking at that, man, keeping it on the horizon.
Yeah, that's perfect timing. Of course, I keep track with you on Instagram at Master Blend Farms Food SVC for everybody out there. You check out Ron. He keeps everybody updated with the menus and the events and what's happening there with Master Blend Family Farms. Ron, you mentioned Aunt Shirley's ribs. I want to know about the cowboy baked beans, because you got them on the menu for Pinehurst coming up here in a little while. But tell me about the baked beans. What is the key to making good cowboy baked beans?
Hey, so the way we play that thing, when we put those baked beans on, we'll cook the brisket over it. So that fat is rendering down into that baked bean. And then we put some peppers, some onions. The crazy thing about it was supposed to be a side. It became an entree in its own right. So now we have people ordering that. And it seems like people order the cowboy baked beans by the gallons, man. So it's been like crazy. If you're a beefy person, if you like beef, you like a lot of kick, a lot of grease, yo, we got that for you, man. And the surprise ingredient on it is bacon bits, man. The actual bacon chunks coming off of our retail packs of bacon. Yeah, the trimmings off of that, we cook that up in there. So it's bonkers, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in those beans, it sounds like. Now, I know for the food truck, you've got pre-order and walk-up traffic. How much are you getting of each one of those every week? I know you're talking about the chicken selling out, but, how much, what's the balance there?
So there is not a balance. So we've put that business model together with the online orders. What we are able to do with that is actually capture different ways to be able to stay in contact with everybody that's coming out to the food truck. We're looking at implementing a loyalty program. Mm-hmm. And so like having that algorithm or the SEO knowledge coming off of the website is giving us that information that we need to build out promotional projects for everybody that's coming to see us.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes stuff. Okay, we're going to talk more about the latest news from Master Blend and, of course, Pinehurst Barbecue Festival before we head to the Sand Hills and further east down to the coast, to the home of Master Blend down there. Here's an invitation for our audience. Please take a moment to visit the Low and Slow Barbecue Show online at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. You can sign up for our newsletter while you're there. We'll send you the lowdown on the latest Carolina barbecue news to your email inbox on Tuesday mornings. That includes the food truck schedule from folks like Ron and Master Blend. We've also got interviews with pitmasters from across the Carolinas, including participants in this year's Christopher Prieto Pitmasters Invitational. In fact, Christopher Prieto himself from Prime Barbecue in Nightdale, he was on the show a couple weeks ago. We had Adam Hughes from Old Colony Smokehouse last week. You've got Lewis Sweet, Lou Donald there in the archives of our podcast. Just check out the interviews with those guys and more, all at lowslowbbqshow.com. And of course, you'll find our other conversations that we've had with the man himself, Ronald Simmons. Please go check those out. We've had some fun over these past few years, Ron, that's for sure. But for folks that maybe don't know what Master Blend is or haven't heard those other podcasts, why don't we kind of continue by give us a little bit of an introduction and overview to your business?
So Master Blend Family Farms was a project that was launched when my father-in-law was getting ready to retire. Mm-hmm. And so basically I sat down with him. I never forget, I received a call from him on an Easter Sunday of 2016. And he said to me, as the idea had continued to cook up and gain momentum, he was saying he never expected it to turn out the way it did. So the farm was initially the project. And then from that, we transitioned over to a retail space on the farm, which would allow people to come out and engage with us. From there, we dived into the scene. That was after. So 2018, we won Small Farmer of the Year. Mm-hmm. And there were other incredible opportunities that we had received awards from. But it just continued to build. In 2020, we established a relationship with Kingsford, which took it to another level. Kubota jumped in on the same year. And so that expanded the scope of who we were and what our cause was, our mission and our goals. And then from that, along the way, we also added the delivery aspect for customers that wanted to order the product for wholesale or food service. And then I think 2021, we implemented the e-commerce feature on the website that pushed it even further so that customers were able to order it across the country.
Yeah. So from, kind of a small operation to a multi-dimensional modern, Master Blend Nation, right? So it's exciting to see how you guys have grown over the years. How far is your farm from Kenansville in that spot where you're doing the food truck?
So the farm is literally about 10 minutes from where we set up the food truck. Like I said, that was a good way to keep our brand in front of the consumers in the community. The other cool thing was the fact that I've been able to speak with some of the different administrative representatives of the county. They were speaking about how we've been able to grow the awareness of Kenansville, because before, when people would ask where Kenansville was, no one had a clue. So, it's turned out very great. It's opened the opportunity to conversations in other events that could be held in Duplin County. So, bro, we've been busting at the seams, loving it, man.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about the catering and specifically, I see you guys doing things all around. How many people do you have on your team? What's it take to kind of put that operation together from a manpower standpoint?
So our core consists of 12 people. So for anybody that follows us on social media, you'll see Sarge, you'll see Mr. Matthews, you'll see my mother. She's very instrumental in it. You see the boss lady, my wife. Uh-huh. And then you see Miss Patrice. So she kind of keeps us all in line. And on some occasions, my kids will come home from California and they'll party with us. A lot of times whenever they come through, it just goes over the top. I know with the concerts that we've done this year, we've brought in third contract or third party individuals. And so the crew has been up to 30 people to be able to facilitate a party of that magnitude. But all in all, what I always try to reflect on the team is the appreciation. I always want them to have fun. And then the other part of it is they've been impressed as the food has transitioned from where we once started over the smokers to where it is now. You know what I mean? So it's been super cool. Everybody's kind of been on the edge of the seat to see what we're going to do next.
Yeah. Now, is that crew, that core 12, are they the same folks that you're relying on at the farm too? And where you got the market and the wholesale, the retail business and the distribution, or have you got another crew that's running that show?
So some of the folk that actually work on the farm, we delegate the responsibilities for working the two locations. And then other times, like my mom, so she can be versatile in any role. Because the one thing that I've asked her, I was like, yo, Mom, so if I bug you too much about talking about business, just let me know. And she always told me, well, listen, if you don't call me and tell me, I'm going to call you and ask. So, you have some that just love being involved from start to finish. Yeah. And then you have others that have limitations on their availability. So we just have them in certain areas.
I got you. It's always nice to plug moms in, a master of all the things, right? She's good in every position on the field. That's good. Right. Well, we're talking about the business piece of it there. Out in the marketplace, you hear a lot about the rising cost of beef and a lot of good reasons that's happening. What do you see happening with the cost of pork? How's it doing? And is it following the same increase trend?
So with each of the business enterprises that we've launched, we've been paying attention to the actual trends. Mm-hmm. And so there was a time we were facilitating about 42 different restaurants simultaneously. Mm-hmm. Now that number is about 20. So there's been impacts from, what's happened in society with COVID. And then the other thing, like the tariffs that have come up, some respected companies that we work with, they kind of fall back a little bit, not totally off the radar, but a little more conservative with the budget that they have in place. But, that's pretty much the ideal where if one mechanism begins to plateau, you implement a new idea and you kind of adjust the investment in regards of the marketing power. The beauty in that is, I've learned over the years that there are people that follow us and they talk to us. And whenever I go random places, Chig, it's like, you never know where you're going to go when someone knows you and they're like, oh my God, you're the pig guy. Or, oh my God, you Mr. 365. Yeah. So it's always cool. You know what I mean? And I think now with, the other hat that I'm wearing, I get to go across the state, talk to producers, give them motivation. And that part, is something that I'm dear, it's like a genuine thing. And it makes what I do just that much better.
Yeah, and I see you zigzagging across the state with Jack Nails and you guys doing your thing for the NC Department of Agriculture and the Got to Be NC program, which we love. And we'll talk more about the Pinehurst guys because that's all NC people. And there's some Got to Be NC folks that are involved in that big lineup. But I want to take you here on a sidebar quickly first, Ron. One of your trips with Jack was to a comic book shop. And I've started to see a lot of comic books coming up. You're a comic book junkie and you've got a collection of it. I've seen these visits. I've seen your stuff. Is this going to be the next piece, the next cog in the hustle there for Mr. 365, a comic book collector's empire?
Yo, Chick. So what's crazy on that? So my PR team has already been in discussion about building out a project as Mr. 365 being a superhero, right?
Yeah.
The fetish came about. I was talking with my uncle. He's retired Air Force. And he's been collecting for about 40 years. I had no idea that Jack also had a fetish for comic book collections. And so one day I was doing a fundraiser. Matter of fact, it was last year I was doing the fundraiser for the lip ripping chicken ring barbecue competition down there at the Brewers Company, Southern Pines Brewing Company. And I met some individuals that had some incredible artwork down there. And, my thing is anytime we see vendors, always show support to them, spend a little bit with them. And I ended up getting the permission from the boss lady to buy the majority of what they had on display.
Whoa.
Some of it I kept for my collection. Some of it I gave to my uncle. He gaslighted immediately. He was like, nephew, you the best. Yeah. And so since then, I think right now to date, since 2024, I've visited about 43 different comic book shops across the country.
Wow.
So it's been pretty good. While we were in Texas a couple months back, we visited some shops in Arlington and Dallas and, just bounced around there. And then we show love up here in North Carolina, down in Conway. So yeah, it's a cool thing. It's basically an investment, it's something that makes me feel like a kid again. And but it's always cool to look at it too,
Yeah. Have you read all those comics?
Well, bro. So I have this thing about keeping them in a climate-controlled space and wearing rubber gloves.
Yeah.
So I don't really look at them. I just basically just keep them and pay attention to the appraisal value of them.
I got you. So it's like you said, a true business investment there. So you don't want all of mine I got from my childhood. I've just got in the closet. I mean, they've all been read and turned through. And there may be a few in bags, but they're all well used.
I do want them if you autograph one for me. I'll frame it with a picture of me and you. Yeah, I'll take that, bro.
Hey, maybe that's the next project. Is Chigger and Mr. 365 in her own series? Oh, wait a minute. That's too crazy. Let's bring it back here to barbecue, Ron, for just a minute and get to the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival. And I know you've been involved in that a few years. You're on the menu in the Chris Prieto Pitmaster Invitational. But also, as I scroll through here and I see the partners, you guys are a meat sponsor for 2025. What does that participation at that type of level do for your business there at Master Blend?
Sugar, I'm going to tell you, since day one, that project and that platform has been incredible. The beauty for me with being beside Chris is I knew him before we knew him as, the barbecue nerd. Yeah. And I never forget sitting in his garage and he was talking about his ambitions. And I was just a motivator. I'm pouring gas on all the dreams. I'm like, bro, let's make it happen. Yeah. And part of what came from that was the opportunity to serve some of our product in his retail space, Prime Barbecue down in Nightdale. Mm-hmm. But being able to see all of the brothers from the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival come together year after year and have Chris as our general, if you will, it lets everybody know that, we're taking care of the barbecue culture. Because all of your pit masters that you have are super responsible. And then it's always cool just to see, watch as the crowd cheers on Prado as he's like maxing out doing the different learning pieces. So it's been an incredible experience. I look forward to seeing the guys every year, man, because we get to catch up on how things have been. And of course, the promotion company out there, Tar Heel Communications, man, like incredible love to them boys. Andrew, JT, Peter, Dave, Miss Norma, the support that they give to all these pit masters and to those brands and the visions that they have, and they trust us with it. That's a big deal. That's something that we at Master Blend never take lightly.
Yeah. Are you providing pork for the festival as well as a meat sponsor? Because I see a lot of it here on a lot of the different menus. Yeah.
So basically what it looks like, we step in a number of capacities. Some of those would be like if any of the guys need fire sources, we make sure that we check with Kingsford and get charcoal for the guys. The other way is when it comes to the actual pork, with us, we make sure that we have ours full. But then at the conclusion of the event, we try to make sure that anything that remains goes to like the fire department in that area. And then, of course, it's easy for us to be a shoulder to lean on if any of the pit masters need anything.
I got you. So you're talking about what you're going to be bringing in your pork. Tell us what's on the menu for Master Blend Family Farms at the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival this year.
Yo. So I got to check, man, because I remember the boss lady saying she wanted to do shrimp tacos, and am I close?
You're close. There's tacos involved. Hey, I'll tell you what you're bringing, and y'all get it sorted out.
Pulled pork.
Yeah, pulled pork tacos, cilantro live slaw, and I mentioned the cowboy baked beans. So you're close. Pork and shrimp, they're not anything alike, but they both go into taco really well.
Yeah. So I think the shrimp tacos was something she wanted to implement on the menu on the food truck. And then I was hanging out with Jake Woods because he's got his new place going on.
Yeah,
and so
barbecue, sure.
Yeah. So whenever I was jaw jacking with Jake a little bit, and he's my guy. He was talking about the different the different experiences that you give to the people when they come out to the restaurant, the retail space. And so that's how the whole fantasy about doing the tacos came to be. So we've been playing around with the idea of doing the shrimp tacos, but we know we definitely going to be bringing that pulled pork taco down to Pinehurst. And, the cool thing is every year the village is always very responsive of us coming out. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So you talking about the village there at the village of Pinehurst, kind of in the Sandhills part of North Carolina. When you go as a pit master, how would you describe that experience maybe as opposed to what a spectator might have?
So for us, first and foremost, anytime that we go to Pinehurst, the promoters, so Peter Stillwell, he'll always say to me, "Welcome home, son." And that really hits home off the rip because in 2021, in 2020, we were invited out there to see what they had going on, and we actually shot some promo material for them. When we were invited to come out there and participate, that was next level, speaking with the PR team and everything and negotiating everything. And so now that we've been there a few years, whenever we come down to the village and to the resort, it really feels like home. You know what I mean? Because, you see familiar faces from the community and they're cheering you on. They're asking if there's any samples available. And of course, we're going to pop some of that skin and let them have that magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty. We anytime that we go anywhere, because Lou also does the Carolina Barbecue Festival. I always say to everybody involved, we're going into this to share the vision and exceed their expectations. You know what I mean? So always giving them more than what they're asking for, so that it's a sure thing that we'll be back the following year.
Yeah, cool. So you look at the lineup there. Is there anything on the menu or in the events? Because, there's a lot going on between the Christopher's Q School grilling class, the barbecue reimagined, and I know Matthew Register's really got something special lined up for the High on the Hog dinner. Is there anything in that you're looking forward to or going to be able to make sure that you're participating in?
So this year, I definitely want to be supportive of all the guys as they're putting together everything, the presentations and all. I always try to make it a point to step by and see all of the pits just to catch up. If you're talking about when Keith is out there or Lou is out there, any of the guys that have been there historically, I always try to check in and see if there's anything that we can do that all lift on three so that, nobody feels like they're handling it by themselves,
Sure, that's very cool. So, we talked a little bit about the experience as a pit master. What about as a spectator? Why should somebody come out to the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival? Apart from seeing Mr. 365 in the Master Blend Nation.
So the main reason that all the ticket holders need to be there is because it's a party from sun up to sun down for at least 48 hours, possibly 72 hours. The beauty in it is there's a little bit out there for everybody. So there's not anyone that has been neglected or overlooked in the preparing and the strategy that was developed for this thing. And then, literally it's a great economic push for the actual Pinehurst Village. You know what I'm saying? And for the promoters. So the conclusion of it, you definitely want to be in the building. You don't want to miss it. There's always something for everybody. And if nothing else, Prado was never going to disappoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be a great event. And of course, as I mentioned, he's got some classes he's offering there, the Q School Grilling class. Of course, he talked about it on an episode beforehand. Ron, what else? We've hit all the things. What have I missed that's going on with Master Blend Family Farms here in Pinehurst Barbecue Festival?
So it's pretty much getting ready to see how the remainder of the year shakes out. We're in Pinehurst for the Festival d'Avion. Each time that's happening at the Moore County Airport. The other thing is there's a lot of stuff on the horizon with Rockingham Motor Speedway. Ooh. So we've been speaking with economic development out there to try to come back to the Hops and Hot Rods event. Yeah. So, that's pretty much what's the high things on the plateau. And then I believe we've wrapped up some crazy concerts. We got a ton of footage coming out for that right there. There were a lot of people they were waving their fans and doing the trail ride thing. That was the artist that was actually out there that we were feeding. And look, Chig, I got to tell you this, bro. And this is just for anyone that has a food truck, FYI. If you already booked to take care of the VIP people, make sure that you cover and accommodate for them before you start opening the window and taking care of the audience. Because that was the thing that we learned. It was like we never expected the people to come up to us while we were taking care of the VIP tables. Mm-hmm. And bro, literally the crowd comes in at 5 o'clock and they're there till 1 o'clock and everybody's hungry, baby. So you got to give them what they want,
Right. Well, you got to take care of those VIPs for sure. Don't let them go missing.
That's right. Absolutely. But and then I believe the other thing is I'll be in LA next week, working on some stuff over there for a little bit. And So, you know what I mean? Just stay plugged in. Like, we always got something going on.
Yeah, LA, that's big time there, Ron. And of course, you can see it all at your Instagram site. Again, there's a couple out there, but I want to make sure that the folks go to the right places. Master Blend Farms Foods, SBC. And there's a YouTube channel that's always updated with all the cool stuff that you've got going. I know you employ a lot of cool talent. Our friend Paul out there does some good stuff for you. Always exciting stuff to see, and you can keep track of what you guys have going on. And before we wrap it up, Ron, I got to tell you, you burn so much gas, no brakes, 365. There's always something cooking. What keeps your fire burning? What keeps you doing it?
I think the biggest reason that I do it is always to be an example to my kids. The wild thing, and it's a number of reasons, but that's number one. I want to be an example. It was cool. I was talking with my youngest daughter yesterday, and we were talking about stocks and hedge funds. And for her to be her age 23 and my oldest to be 25, I feel confident that I've given them the direction and the guidance that they've needed. And then when it comes to the communities and the different cities and the different regions, what I love about, or the reason that I do what I do, is always being that source of motivation and inspiration, just to let folk know, as wild as everything is in society, the one thing that'll bring us all together is barbecue. So food over fire with friends, like, you can't go wrong with that right there. And then in regards of my contributions to the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, it's a similar thing, but being able to offer technical support for any of those producers that need any insight on how to navigate the horizon of agriculture. Because, I mean, when you look at the statistics, they're staggering. The number of producers versus the number of people that are consuming, and being able to actually be involved, or at least be at the table with the idea of creating more with less. So, I mean, we got a lot of hot projects coming up, man. Chigga, I'll just tell you one to keep your eyes on. Here at the Department of Agriculture, I had a chance to sit down with the Murphy family. And so we have an episode of Discovering NC Agriculture coming up with them. They had a big announcement at the beginning of the year. So, just doing my part and making sure that I leave no stones unturned to be able to build a legacy for the next generation.
And that, my friends, is the final word from Ronald Simmons, Mr. 365, president and pitmaster for Master Blend Family Farms. Come and see him and taste his great pork barbecue, the pork barbecue tacos, as well as the cowboy baked beans. That's all at the Pinehurst Barbecue Festival coming up this Labor Day weekend, August 29th through the 31st in the village of Pinehurst. Tickets are available at pinehurstbarbecuefestival.com. Ron, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yo, bro, Chig, thank you for everything, man. Keep shining, baby. Keep shining.
For sure. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcast. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. You can share a podcast with your food-loving friends, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That's where you can see all of the photos and videos of our barbecue adventures and interviews. There's even a sit-down dinner with Mr. 365 in there somewhere. Check it out. All that at YouTube. And don't forget, when you visit lowslowbbqshow.com, you can sign up for a free newsletter and get the latest barbecue news delivered to your inbox on Tuesday mornings. Thanks again to our guest today, Ronald Simmons from Master Blend Family Farms. Thanks as well to the whole team at the Mesh.tv network of podcast, especially our producer, Andrew Moose. Finally, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.